gang, Grizz here. Just wanted to do a little introduction on this week's episode there. Sorry about this week, didn't make it on the Friday. I had all the vids ready to go. Had some computer issues, had phone issues, of course, ran out of time, got busy here. Anyway, blah, 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 enough excuses. Sorry, next week we'll try and get back on track again, but thanks for being patient and thanks for hanging around and watching. And if you haven't subscribed, give it a subscribe and maybe give a like, and thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week. Bye, gang. Hey everybody, welcome to another Fiberglass Friday. This week I think we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to pick out a couple of my most recent ones with a little bit of a challenge to them, and we'll just talk about it. And I'm going to show you how I strip it down, how it comes apart in pieces, and just talk about the build in general. Okay, so this is that big Venus model. You've seen her before. She's a 7-piece model. In the end, about 6 layers thick, 6 or 7. You need that sort of thickness for the weight that's going to be going into this model when you pour it. If I was smart at the beginning of the year, I would have bought some woven mat and probably done two layers of regular 1.5 ounce chop strand, and then put the woven mat on top for thickness. But I didn't think ahead, and I got into it, and it was a little too late. But it's good. Lots of layers, like I said, so she's good and strong. So I'll just show you a little breakdown on her. I've got it clamped up to, when you move it around before you get your bolts and stuff in, you want to get some clamps on it just so you can move it about. So we're just going to start on the top here. The head's in 2 pieces. Back piece. Front piece. So right in here, I cut this morning. I'll come a little closer so you can see. There's this little spot right here. And that's where there's a breather valve in here, a little vent, an air vent, so I don't get air trapped underneath her chin and her nose to hopefully get a good flow into there. So what you have to do is when you first take this off, when you've done the build, the first thing you want to do is cut that piece back off, cut it down about 3/4 of an inch, because you won't be able to get that back, the fiberglass back on. You can see it's quite tight in the back in here. You won't get that back on again. So just nip it off to where you want to have it, and then your piece will go back on nice and easy. So back piece, they comes apart really nice. I'm quite happy how she turned out. Big back section. So you'll learn the sequence. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get it apart. Sometimes you have to do it sort of in a method. There's this piece versus that piece first. So anyway, that's how she comes off. So what I'm probably going to do too, while I've got this, is I'm probably going to really beef up that bottom flange there. They're pretty beefy already, but because obviously not this long, the legs are going to be made from 2x4s. So all that weight is going to be pressing on that bottom flange. So there's probably going to be 3 or 4 of these legs across here. So you're going to need some substantial thickness to be able to take the pressure of all that weight is going to be supported by that bottom flange. So you got to keep that in mind when you're building your model. So anyway, that's the Venus. It's pretty easy peasy to get apart. Long time, took me over a week to get her done with glass, but she was sort of like my last big one. I've got a few smalls to finish up, but I'll just cut away and we'll come back and we'll do another one right away. Okay, yeah, we're back. I just wanted to mention about the Venus model there. The rubber, if you've seen the rubber, like the different colors on it, you know, it's got wax on it, which is sort of a green color, the PVA, which is green. That's why I look kind of rough. And quite dark, the rubber towards the bottom and in spots. It's because it has 2 layers of the rubber crumb, the black rubber crumb mixed into the latex in 2 different sequences on there. So it's darkened up the rubber quite a bit. From what my normal rubber looks like, it's quite light and pale. And that looks quite dark and orangey, and you can see some of the black right through it. So that's if you're wondering why it looked like those colors. So here's another model that I did a year ago as well, one like this. But it's quite nice. I like this one. Turned out has a few little tricks to it, and I'll just show you here. This is a Ganesh model. You might, I can't remember if it's been in a recent vid or not, or if I even showed that I was building this guy here. So it's a 4-piece. It's pretty easy like this way, but a few tricks to get it there. So just one big back piece on it, one big solid piece on the back, side, other side piece, so that's right, and the front. So you can see that again. See the color? That's again too. It's darker because it's got a couple layers. You can see it better there underneath. It's got a couple layers of the dark rubber crumb, so that's why the rubber looks quite dark like that. So you can see 3 big glass plugs on here. Lots of deep pockets, and it just allows you to do one solid piece on there instead of doing a section and a section. If you don't want it, you can do that, right? So, front piece and the other side piece. You can see why, because the hand's sticking up. There's a tusk in here, and a breather valve in here, an air vent here. There's an air vent here, and an air vent here. That's because if these are the places where you're going to get a bad mix flow. You don't want a whole bunch of air bubbles trapped in here or under the hand. Here's another vent over here on the back side of the hand. So you're going to get a good flow, and you're not going to get a bunch of bubbles on these outside sections, right? Same as here. There's a little cheater seam here when you're pulling it up, so you'll just be able to get it over that knee. It'll just help you to open it up a bit to get up over the hand and this hand over here. So it's almost a complete 2-piece rubber, except for this section here is the only thing that's holding it together. So it's going to come apart like this, a nice big opening to get up there. I don't anticipate any problems with it lifting up. So, but anyway, it was a little different with the 3 big plugs. Like I said, that just allows you to do less pieces on your mother mold of the piece. So anyway, that's a piece I'm sort of proud of. It's done it twice now. Who knows, maybe a 3rd time, and I might sell one of these guys. I think it's going to be a probably pretty popular model in the store. So anyway, that's number 2, and let's move along. Ready? Now we're back to the next one here. Something a little different. It's a pot. It's square. Most of mine just happen to be round, so it's kind of unusual for me. It's almost a rectangle actually, so it's just 3 outside pieces on here. And 2 flanges here for seams, so it's going to pull up and then just over the top. It's you'll see. I'll pour one later in the spring, and you can see what this is. It's a Philodendron leaf. If people follow me on Instagram, you'll probably see me finishing off the clay work on this one here. So you will get an opportunity to see it. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. Is the top here. So when you've just finished your glass for the first time, it's good to drill a little hole, but not going through your rubber, and to give it a little air shot in that hole. And if this was just fresh out of from being glass, this would pop up, it would lift up like this and give you an opportunity to get that glass out. But there's a couple other things you can do at this point. Is some of my older ones, I used to do it a lot, was you can cut this to length and actually glass yourself a little pulling handle for it. You can use just some ABS, or you can use a wooden dowel, like a closet dowel or whatever. or a broom handle, and just the same thing, cut it to length, put it in and just glass it to the two ends, and then you have something to grip. I mean, you can go this way too, it doesn't matter. I found them not totally necessarily. You can see this one, it's a little bit loose to start with, so it's not that bad. So then I just give it a few, I use one of these slim pry bars to go around the edges, just to keep bringing it up. If you were afraid of chipping concrete underneath while you're doing this, I'm not, but what you could do is just put a little piece of wood shim, or like this is a paint stir stick or something, and it can go underneath, and see, you can get a little extra level, and you're not prying onto the corner where you might snap off. So it should be to the point where I can just wiggle, there we go. So it's out, it's pretty easy. So I'm probably not gonna put a handle on that one. So this one's a little different for the inside plug. You know, I like my density, high density foam. So I put that in this one too, and always just left it a little bit down so I can get a good push down on your glass when it's all bolted in. That's going to be really secure in there, so you won't get any deformation from being loose, the foam, or getting some kind of twisting inside. So what's different with this one? It looks like a whole piece, but it's not. I didn't want to put a whole piece in because I was thinking, how could I get your hands in to get that out? And you can't drill something into it and pull it. You rip the foam every time. So what I did was I did it in pieces. So what I do is you put a layer in, and then you wax it and PVA, and then do another layer, and so on. So that's what I did. I've got 4 separate layers for the insert. So then it's easy to get your hands into there and grab it and pull it out. And easy to put it back in again too. So I think I made the right decision there. I wasn't too sure at first, but I think it turned out okay. It's gonna work just fine. There, and there we go. That's just something a little bit different, and a little bit different for as this is concerned. You don't see that very often, but anyway, thanks guys, and we'll see you at the next Fiberglass Friday.